And we're live! Hello everyone! If you're watching this on the replay, real quick, I wanted to say hi to you and to let you know that if you want to make sure that you are here live when these things happen live, then turn on notifications for my channel. It's right next to the subscribe button. You just click that little bell icon, then you'll get notifications. So if it's important to you that you be here when this really happens, and so you can chat with me and chat with the other people that are here as well, then make sure you do that. And also, if you're on the replay, we're gonna wait for people to get here a little bit, chit chat, and then we're gonna get into making dinner. And tonight we are making a stir fry. So that's what's up. And for those of you who are here live, hello. Let me know that you're here. Say hi. Let me know maybe where you're watching from. I would love to chat with you. And as always, I have my tablet here too, so I can see your comments on my screen and on my tablet, so I can make sure that I try not to miss anyone. Emily says hi. Hi, Emily. Emily's watching from California. Very nice, very nice. I just had a cat jump up on my cutting board. Kinda Vegan is here from San Diego. Hello, how are you doing today? We have RD from Cambridge, Boston. Hi. Evie's number one says hello, and you're in the Netherlands, right? Did I get that right? I feel like that's what my gut is telling me. I try to remember, those of you who are here often, where you're from and what your deal is. I know that Evie's number one. It is very, very late where you are, and I appreciate you hanging out. Okay, correct. You are in the Netherlands. I'm pretty good that I've got that down. Okay. So I've got everything laid out here. I don't think I forgot anything. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit of a whirlwind to get in here on time to talk with you guys today, because I was working away from home doing stuff, and then I kind of ran in here and tried to get everything together and ready. So I think I have everything. If not, I can always grab it. It's not like it's that hard, but I try to get everything out here ready to roll so we can minimize me running around the kitchen. And I've got my water here. Those of you who are here often also know that I always forget to drink my water. So if you could give me reminders, that would be super helpful. Jen in 99 says hello. Hello, I hope you're doing well today. I'll tell you all a little bit about my day while we wait for some more people to come hang out, and then we'll get into the cooking. Ooh, there's something going on. My day, I was doing a tasting today at a doctor's office. A lot of you know that I work with a nonprofit called the Dr. Yum Project, and I was working with them today doing a tasting in a doctor's office, so I went into so that's what most of my day was. And then we were also having camp for 7 to 12-year-olds at the kitchen, and so I went back and helped with that as well. So that's what I've been doing, and now I'm home and I'm getting ready to make dinner, and you guys have a lot of comments coming in. Rai says hello from California. Hi, happy to see you. Jason, my husband, Cats and Pats, is in the comments. Some of you can see, and accidentally, I think deleted some of some of Evie's messages by mistake. Jason has admin powers because he's my husband and I trust him. So, you know, if there's any if there's any I don't know, what do I want to say, bad players in the chat, he can help take care of that for me, so I don't have to worry about it. But I think he accidentally got Evie's comments. Okay, so let's talk about dinner tonight, and we will see what's happening. So tonight we're making stir fry, and stir fry is one of my favorite meals, and I think it's a good thing to know how to make, because it's one of those things that you can just make on the fly and just do your thing, and it's really adaptable to whatever you have on hand. If you have some random veggies you need to use up, you know, you have them. Most of us have some rice on hand, or maybe some noodles or something that we can throw in there, and then you probably also are gonna have the things you would need for a sauce, especially if you make stir fry often. You probably have soy sauce. Hopefully you have some rice vinegar. If not, you can get some and just keep those stocked. So it's a really good thing to have up your sleeve, so that you can make it yourself. And okay, sorry, I'm just making sure the comments are okay. Jason's figuring out how to do his thing and to not accidentally delete your comments. So let's talk about what we're doing as far as veggies. We've got a few different veggies we're gonna put in here, and oh, also another note I want to give you talking about stir fry is that if you, even while you're watching this, you feel like, I don't know if I really know how to do that, a great tool is actually on the Dr. Yum website. So if you go to dryum.org, again, they are it's a nonprofit that I work with as their dietitian, and there is a tool on there called Meal Maker Machine, and that is a really great tool because it has 7 different frameworks for different types of meals. You go in there, you could pick stir fry, for example, and then it takes you through the whole process. It guides you, you select the items just that you have on hand in your pantry, and then it creates a custom recipe for you based on what you have. So if you feel like, even after watching this, you still need a little more guidance, that is a great, great, great tool to use. Okay, so let's get started. We got to do a lot of chopping. So stir fry comes together quick, and so we want to get everything chopped and ready to go before we start putting it in the pan. Cats are fighting in the hall. Hey, y'all, stop. Chill out. I think sometimes one of them wants to play and the other one doesn't, and it becomes like a whole battle. Play nice. Okay, hopefully we don't have to go break them up, but we'll see. What was I saying? We need to have everything chopped because once we start cooking, it's gonna go quick. So we wanna get everything prepped. So I'm gonna start off with the hot peppers. Let's get those out of the way. Let's do sweet peppers first. So for sweet peppers, all of these are from the garden, which is very exciting because the garden's actually doing things. If you saw my last garden update, then you saw some of the stuff that's happening out there. I'm very, very happy about it. So we have a few different types here. These are called a Jimmy Nardello. They are a sweet pepper that kind of has like a roasted apple flavor. Fun. And then I also have some mini bells that we grew. We don't grow any large bell peppers. They're just they're one of those things that's pretty cheap at the farmer's market, and if one goes bad, it's kind of like a big piece of fruit. But with the mini ones, if something happens to one, it's okay, and the plant will produce a lot more, and they're very cute. So we're gonna chop these up too for our sweet peppers. Kitties! Wait 1 second. I gotta break this up. Y'all, we're not fighting while we are doing the live stream. Stop. We're not doing that right now. Stop it. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. So I am going to go ahead and turn the camera down now so you guys can see me chopping, and I can see your questions and comments on my tablet. So if you have any questions about what's happening with the food, just cooking questions in general, nutrition questions, I'm happy to answer those. Remember that everything we talk about is general advice. It's not meant to be a substitute for advice from a medical provider. It's not meant to diagnose, treat, or cure any condition, all that kind of stuff. It's just general information. And we will get into it while I chop. So I'm gonna turn you guys to face, wait a second. Okay, I'm gonna turn you guys to face the cutting board. Boop. Let's see if that's a good angle. All right, so peppers. Let's start with the Jimmy Nardellos first. So I have a few, these two look fine. And then I have a couple here that kind of had bad spots in the garden, so we kind of just trimmed those off. This one I think is going in the compost bin. Let's see, what does this one look like? See this one here, that's the other thing about growing your own stuff. The side of this one has kind of got a rotten bit, but we can see if this is still edible when we cut it open. Because, something like this, if, on a farm this got picked, they can't ship this. They can't sell this, right? But we can use it and the food's not going to go to waste. So we will start rocking through these, and I will see your comments that I have missed. Okay. Okay, Evie's number 1 says, a thing I have a lot of trouble with is wanting to cook late. This night we also went with air fryer snacks instead of a rice salad. Okay, so cooking dinner late. Also, we'll talk about knives in a second. You guys can just watch me chop. So it doesn't really matter when you cook. It's just whatever works for you. Honestly, a lot of times we have dinners late too because of our schedule. You've been having trouble wanting to cook lately. Different question. So motivation to cook. I think that's okay. I think there's this idea that we should all love cooking all the time and it should be this wonderful thing, which it can be. I mean, I love cooking a lot of the time. That's one of the reasons why I made it part of my job. I think it's fun. But that doesn't mean I always want to cook. A lot of times I don't want to cook. Maybe I've had a long day, maybe it's been a long week, maybe I'd rather do something else instead, and that's okay. You don't have to be super excited about cooking all the time. I think the important thing to know is there's going to be some times when you have to cook because you have to eat food, right? And you don't feel like it, but you just got to do it. It's just one of those things. It's just like you got to take a shower, you got to brush your teeth, you got to run a comb through your hair or whatever. It's not, you have to have food. But also know that you don't have to have every night be some fancy gourmet experience either. There's some nights where we do very simple meals, fry up a couple eggs, grab some random vegetables that are in the fridge, and have a piece of toast. You know, that's fine. Some nights we'll do kind of like a snacky dinner where we have like, I don't know, raw cut vegetables, some hummus, some fruit I chopped up, some cheese, crackers, whatever. That's fine. I think if you have kids, it's important to be more consistent because, you know, you're not just cooking for yourself then. You want them to eat and have a good meal experience. But again, it doesn't have to be fancy stuff. You can do very basic things, and you can order food. Like, do we want to be eating out every single night of our lives? No, probably not, because we're probably not going to get a good variety of food. We might not get the amounts of foods that we would like, and it's going to be really expensive. But ordering food is fine. Sometimes I don't feel like making dinner, and me and Jason order pizza, and that's okay. It's not a big deal. And if you are like, yeah, but I really wish I had more motivation to cook, maybe try mixing it up. That might help, having some new recipes. Sometimes that can get you excited about cooking. Another thing you could try maybe is doing some simpler stuff, taking the pressure off yourself a little bit. Maybe that will help you kind of recharge. And then also looking at other areas of your life too. Maybe if you have a lot of stress in one area and that's getting in the way of you wanting to cook because you're just like so bogged down with that other thing, then maybe you can look at that and see if there's something there that you could change. So there's different ways to go about it, but hopefully some of that was helpful. Oh, Evie says that they want these mini bell peppers. Yes, they're so cute. They're precious. They're the most adorable things, and you can just eat them like in one bite if you wanted to, which is also really fun. Let's see. Oh, Kind of Vegan asks, is it easier to grow the mini peppers than the tomatoes? I don't know if, I almost cut myself. I don't know if one is better than the other. I think they're both about the same amount of easy. Yeah, sorry, I've got pepper seeds stuck to my fingers. I think they're pretty similar. I mean, the tomatoes definitely, I would say, produce more just because tomato plants get so big, especially like the cherry tomatoes. But I find these peppers really easy to grow. I haven't had any trouble with them at all, and this is the second year growing them. I was wondering what would be a better way to spend my summer. Interning at a hospital where I get to shadow dietitians, or summer school to graduate early? Well, it's gonna depend on your situation. I will say one thing to keep in mind if you're trying to graduate early is that you still have to do your internship, right? So there's still that whole application process. Last I knew, there was the spring and they also had a fall. They had a 2 rounds, but the spring round was always much bigger, way more options. The fall round was much more limited, is at least how it was when I was applying. So, you know, if you graduate early, then you still might have to wait. And you're not going to be in your classes with your classmates going through the internship process, like applying, and with your professors, you're going to be out of school and doing it on your own. So it might be worthwhile to be in school because then you're getting that support from those other people who are doing it. You have your professor support. It's easier to get letters of recommendation because, you know, you're right there with them and all that kind of thing. If something goes crazy, you know, goes wrong, or you're like having a meltdown, you can go to your professor's office and talk to them, or your program director, or whatever. But then again, if you graduate early, maybe you could get a job for, even if you can't, you know, apply for internships yet, you could get a job doing like a diet tech job or something to get you more experience to help with your internship applications, though it would be kind of at the end. So I'm not even sure if it would really help your applications because there wouldn't be much to put on there because you're like kind of doing it while you're doing your applications. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I worked here for 3 years or whatever. It's gonna be like, oh, I've been here 3 months. Depends on your financial situation too. If one is going to be better for you financially, then that's definitely something to take into account. And what your long-term goals are. Do you have other things in your life that it would be advantageous for you to graduate early so that you could be home to help your family with something or whatever, or depending on what your situation is. So I would say I don't know that one is obviously better. More experience is always nice because it's going to help boost your application, but you got to think about your other individual factors as well. Hope that was helpful. Okay, Evie says, I love cooking most of the time, but sometimes I just want to chill and not stand in the kitchen. Yeah, I totally feel you. And that's why I think it's good to have some meals up your sleeve that are easy to make. Also having kind of your own convenience meals made, freezing leftovers. So on nights when you don't want to cook, you can pull like a jar of soup out of the freezer and thaw it or something like that. And yeah, also thinking outside of your comfort zone for dinner as far as it doesn't have to be dinner food, quote unquote dinner food. It could be anything, so that might help you also get a little more creative so you can come up with those quick ideas. We're still chopping peppers. That's the one thing about these little peppers is it is a little bit more difficult to chop these because they are so tiny. Okay, let's move on to the next question or comment. Furious Fragment is hungry. Me too. So I'll be happy when this dinner is made. Evie says that ordering food is super expensive where she is. So yeah. And Evie's reminding me to drink water. Thank you. I love you and appreciate you. Jenna99 says, the guy that does Binging with Babish has a series where he does basic recipes. Oh, that's a good idea too. Yeah, if you need some ideas, definitely looking online and finding. I find that helps me a lot. Just getting out of what I normally make and just seeing what someone else is doing. Because even though like I have a lot of ideas, and I know a lot about cooking, like sometimes you just get in your routine, you kind of get in a rut. Sometimes a rut sometimes it can make you feel kind of bored. So if you can just kind of peek into someone else's kitchen and see what they're doing, that can help a lot. Evie's number 1 says, I'm going to go sleep now. Keep drinking water. Jason, thanks for keeping my comments. Countdown by deleting it. I'll stalk/see you later. Bye, Evie. Sweet dreams, and thanks for joining us. Kind of Vegan says, you chop really finely. Yeah, these probably don't need to be this small. I honestly am kind of half paying attention because I'm talking to you guys. Also with the little peppers, I'm always like, I don't know, how should I cut this? Like, I guess I could leave them like that, right? That would have probably been fine. Oh well, we're here now. We're doing it. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there with the sweet peppers. I think that's enough. So now we will move on to the hot peppers. Now let's talk about knives and stuff real quick because I know a lot of you guys wonder about that, especially if you are new to the live streams. This is a knife that I use. I love this knife. It's a global knife. If you're like need a knife and you're interested in this specific one, there's a link to my Amazon store in the description of the video. You can go over there. You'll find a link to this knife. You'll find a link to, let me talk to you so you can see my face. You'll find a link to the knife. You'll find a link to all other kinds of stuff like different kitchen tools I use, books I like, other random stuff. So anytime you're like, ooh, what is that thing? I wish I knew exactly what that item was. If you go over to the Amazon store, then you can find it. And the nice thing about that too is that it's the same price for you, as it would be any other time you're shopping on Amazon. But by going through my store, I get a small percentage of the sale. So it's a nice way to support the channel and support me. If you enjoy the videos and the content, you find it helpful, then that's a way that you can do that. So yeah, knives are there, some of my favorite cooking tools, and then books and other things. So that is a good place to go check. Okay, let's go back down to the cutting board now and chop hot peppers, and I will answer some more of your questions. That should be good. So for hot peppers, we have these jalapenos from the garden. I've got 6 here. That's what I'm gonna put in. I think that will be plenty. I have a lot of these Buena Mulata peppers too, but maybe I could do a mixture. Let's do that. Let's take out a couple of the jalapenos, because these need to get used up. And these, let's see what other comment. Oh, Jenny99 says, is it hot where you live? Yes, it is. So I am in Virginia, Zone 7, for any of you who are gardeners. And being in Virginia is nice because we get all 4 seasons, but we don't get too extreme, but we can get pretty extreme some days. So like this week has been really hot. It's been like in the upper 90s, feels like 100, 102, that kind of deal. And it's also very humid here, which makes it feel hotter. So that's not fun. But it is August, and it's kind of what you expect. And it's not too bad because thankfully we have air conditioning. Though yesterday I was working an event at a farmer's market outside where I had a table and I was doing samples. And that was hot because I was there in the afternoon, like, what was it, like 2 to 5 or something that I was there. So it was the hottest part of the day, and it was just miserable. And also, because it was so hot, the turnout wasn't very good. So I didn't even have a lot of people to talk to compared to other times when I've worked the same farmer's market. And so it was like hot, and there wasn't a lot going on, and it was pretty rough, and I was pretty sweaty. But I made it through it. And luckily, I was under a tent, so I didn't get sunburn or anything, but it was pretty toasty. Okay, and so if you didn't hear, or if you are curious again, these purple peppers here, also from the garden, are called Buena Mulata peppers. They are from the Caribbean, I believe. They're really fun. They start out this purple color, and then they change, like, I think it goes through 5 different colors, like a white phase, a yellow phase, orange phase, red phase, and then you have the purple at the beginning. So it's a really, really pretty pepper. You can eat it at any stage, but from what I've read online, people think the purple stage is the best. And hey, you get to pick them earlier, and the plant can put in effort to making more peppers, so I'm all about that. And I think they are kind of traditionally used for hot sauce. They are hot, very hot, but I find that they kind of have a heat that fades away, so it's not like something that sticks around and is like burning you to death. It's, I don't know, I like it. I think it's fun. So I've got all the peppers. I'm gonna put these over to the side in a bowl now and let them hang out together. Okay. Oh, Kind of Vegan says, do you ever measure your fasting blood glucose? No, I don't really have a reason to. I mean, I have done it in the past. When I was in school, we all got blood glucose monitors and got to do that, which was fun just to kind of have the experience. But it is not something that I do on the regular. Okay. I'm gonna look at you again. I need to wash the hot peppers off my hands. And then we are going to cut up an onion. And I have the onion in the freezer. I always put it in a little bit before I'm gonna chop it up, so that way it can, it kind of like makes it less intense as far as the eye burning and the crying. So hopefully it works today, and you guys don't have to watch me sniffle and wipe my eyes. Water. I need a water break. Next question. Oh, Jenna99 says it's between 90 and 100 here in Montreal. So sounds like you're living in the hot life too. You can even see I'm getting kind of red. I mean, the air conditioning and stuff is on, but it's still hot. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Natalie Smith says, joining a bit late. Hello. Hi, Natalie. Glad you're here. We're just making stir fry, doing a lot of chopping right now. And Kind of Vegan says, 28 Celsius here, but my condo gets hot on the 15th floor. Oh, yeah. Also, that was in Fahrenheit. My temperatures, I mean, it's probably pretty obvious because if it was in Celsius, we would be like on fire. But just to be clear about that. Okay, so we've got the peppers chopped up. Now we're going to cut up the onion. Now we'll turn you guys back down to the cutting board again. so you can see what we're doing. So we're going to cut the top off of the onion, toss that in the compost. Then I'm going to cut it in half. And so when you're cutting anything that's rolly like this, like an onion, you want to get a flat surface. So now this is really stable. If it's rolling around, that increases our risk of cutting ourselves. So we want something stable. So now I'm going to peel the skin off of this. Get that going. There we go. And then we are going to thinly slice this for our stir fry. So I'm just going to run my knife through like this. There we go. We're getting those nice thin slices that are going to be really pretty in our stir fry. And I'm using this onion. You can use any kind of onion you want. It doesn't really matter as far as different types. I know people get particular about onions. Oh, this kind is good for this. This, you know, whatever. I don't know. I just buy the onions at the store. I don't really think about it that much. The only really big distinction I see is like a white or yellow onion versus a red onion. Red onions are much more, have a stronger flavor, and they also provide that pretty purpley red color. So, you know, that's a little bit different, but. And so we're just gonna rock our way through this onion, nice thin slices. And you know, when we cook these, they'll break apart into little slivers like that. So I'm gonna put those in the bowl with the hot peppers. Get those out of our way. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is garlic. Comments. Oh, Kind of Vegan says, add some of your tomatoes. I would like to, but we did a big harvest the other day. I'm gonna peel this garlic over here to the side. We did a big harvest the other day, and I have not been back out there to pick more. There might be more, I'm sure there are more out there I could add, but I didn't have time to get them before the live stream. I like ran out there real quick to grab a couple things, but I didn't have time to pick tomatoes, so that was a little disappointing. But I wanted to be here somewhat on time for you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna put, I don't know, I like garlic, so we'll do, see how big these cloves are. Let's do like, I don't know, like that, like 5 big cloves. That'll probably be good. So I'm just gonna smash these with the side of my knife and my hand, and this is gonna help break the skin off a little bit so they will be easier to peel. There we go, just like that. And then we'll break these down. And while I'm doing this, actually, I'm gonna put you where you can see me again, because I don't know how interesting it is to watch someone peel garlic. Okay, let's see. Oh, Natalie says the chopping is satisfying. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Yeah, it's satisfying as long as I don't cut myself, which has not happened yet on a live stream. But for those of you who are here almost every time, you know that we've had some close calls, including today, because I get distracted reading comments, answering comments, and also trying to cut up the food. And I know one of these days we're gonna have some sort of emergency. I'm sure it's got to happen eventually, right? So keep hanging out at the live streams, because you too may be able to be here the time that I almost cut my finger off. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but we'll see. Okay, so 2 garlic cloves down. Kind of Vegan says, we started tomatoes at the exact same time. I'm harvesting a handful a day now. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot out there. I need to go out there and pick some stuff, but this week I have been super busy, and I've been getting home later just because of the way my schedule's been, and so then it's really late, and then it gets dark, and then I'm like, I don't want to go out there in the dark. So I think when I do finally go out there and do some picking, it's going to be a pretty giant haul. Oh, also, fun fact, I found a turtle in the garden the other day when I was out there doing that giant harvest. He was like living under one of my tomato plants. Like, I guess he's eating the tomatoes that fall off before I get there or whatever. And I thought that was really cute. He was just like buried down in the mulch, like a little garden buddy. Natalie Smith says, any advice on cooking for one? I'm new to living alone and I love cooking, but I'm having a hard time wanting to cook for just me and making portions for one. Okay, that's a great question. So we're not in the exact same situation. I mean, I'm cooking for 2, but still, you know, we're not cooking for huge amounts of people. So I do find that I totally get what you're saying. When I was cooking for one, sometimes it was hard for me to be as consistent, honestly, because no one else is relying on you. And like for me and Jason, you know, I went to school for food stuff. I'm the one who does the cooking. Not every dietitian's like that. A lot of dietitians, their significant other cooks. But that's just kind of how our responsibilities in our home break down. Is I'm pretty much in charge of the cooking, and Jason helps me out here and there, but it's kind of my thing. So if he's not there, then, or when he wasn't there, when I was just cooking for myself, then it can be a little bit like, oh, well, I don't have this other person relying on me, so I'll just put this off from doing this thing. Oh, I guess I'm just gonna eat cereal. You know, so I feel you there for sure. One thing that I think helps is to not try to make portions for one, because honestly, it's a pain in the butt. It doesn't work very well. I'm gonna turn you guys down again so you can see me chop the garlic. It doesn't work very well because if you're cooking for one, you don't have much food to work with. A lot of recipes are for four, and so then you're trying to adjust, or even if you're not using a recipe, it's just like, I don't know, do I have a pan that's the right size? Or sometimes things cook differently when you have a very small amount. It's just annoying. So I think leftovers are the way to go. Just cook whatever recipe you want. Cook enough for 2 people or 3 people or 4 people or more, and then just have leftovers. When I was cooking for myself, I only cooked a few nights a week, maybe 2 to 3 nights a week, because if I make a dinner, that'll feed 4 people on Monday, and then I can eat that for lunches and dinners for like the next day and a half, and then make a dinner, you know, that feeds 4 people again later in the week, and then eat off of that for a few days. So I think that's a really good way to do it, and I think it makes it a lot easier. Now, if you're not into leftovers, because like I don't mind eating the same thing, but if you're not into leftovers, then a way you can work it is maybe you make dinner on Monday and Tuesday, for example, and then you can alternate between those leftovers for a few days, so you're not having the same thing for every meal. Also, making things that you can freeze easily. So we talked earlier about having like stuff in the freezer to pull out when you need something that is, you know, fast and quick and you don't feel like cooking. That's great too if you're cooking for one, because you can just freeze whatever you're having if you don't like leftovers, and then you can have it as leftovers in a week or a month or whatever, and it doesn't feel like leftovers. So that's another good way to do it, I think. Okay, so we just sliced up the garlic. I just did thin slices because we're putting this in the stir fry, so that'll be good like that. Next up, we have some ginger, and I've got it in this little itty bitty baby bag. And I'll use that whole hunk. Oh, Furious Fragment says, what are you making today? So we're making a stir fry, and it is, as I said at the beginning of the live stream, it's a lot of chopping in the beginning, because once this starts cooking, we need to have everything ready. Otherwise, we're going to burn our food or whatever, because stir fry cooks really quickly. So I'm doing, I mean, I usually try to get most things chopped up, but you know, sometimes when you're making a meal, you can cook one thing because it's got to go for a while, and then you can work on the other thing. With this, we want to have everything absolutely ready to go. So there's no waiting around, no me like freaking out and like, oh no, the stuff's going to burn, we got to chop up the whatever. So that is what we're doing. Alright, ginger, I peeled that. I think maybe I'll just do thin slices of that too. I don't know, sometimes I mince the ginger, sometimes I do slices. I do not enjoy dealing with the ginger. I find it to be one of the more annoying things. I don't know, just because it kind of has that stringy texture, I feel like it doesn't chop up very well. I could grate it too, that would work, but that's another thing to wash later, so if I can avoid that, I'm all about that. Alright, I'm just going to kind of run my knife through and get that cut up pretty well. I think that is good enough. We will call that good enough. And I'm going to put this, so right now I have the peppers, the onions, the garlic, and now the ginger all in the same bowl together. And now I'm going to go, I'm going to make you guys face front again. I'm going to go rinse the ginger and garlic off my fingers. Okay, and I need water again. Let's see. Natalie says, thanks, you're welcome, Natalie. Kind of Vegan says, what kind of vinegars do you buy? Really, I have all kinds of vinegars. What we probably use the most is balsamic, especially in the spring and fall when we're having a lot of salads, because that's kind of my go-to salad dressing is balsamic vinaigrette. I keep red wine vinegar on hand. I have rice vinegar here that we're going to be using in our sauce later, in our stir-fry sauce. I always have that. Always have apple cider vinegar. Always have some white vinegar. Those are the ones that are kind of like staples, always stocked in my pantry. Okay. Let's see. What should we do next? I want to make sure we have enough time. I think let's cut up our next vegetable. So, next veggie is baby bok choy. Look at these. They're so teeny tiny. I love getting these at the store. They're so cute. Like, how can you not love anything mini is cuter, right? Mini bok choy, adorable. So we're gonna cut these up to go in our stir fry. And actually, I'm gonna grab another. Well, maybe not. I'm trying to manage my cutting board here and just make sure I'm not getting overcrowded. All right, I'm gonna dump these out, I guess, or maybe put them to the side. I just don't want to have too much stuff and then it's getting crazy and you guys can't tell what's happening and stuff's falling all over the place. Let's put half of them out now. We might not need all of them, so we'll start with half. Okay, and I will turn you guys down to face the cutting board again. I hope none of you get motion sick because we do a lot of back and forth on these. Okay, baby bok choys, and let me see the next comment. Oh, Kind of Vegan says that they're growing baby bok choy, really easy to grow. Good to know. I just think they're precious. Okay, RD says, do you have any recommendations for portable lunches? All right, we will talk about that once I show you how to cut this bok choy. So for the mini ones, what I like to do is cut them in half like this. And so when you have them in the stir fry, you get this, like, I don't know, this cool shape if you're seeing the cross section. I think it looks pretty. Now, I have tried to do it just whole like this before, but they get kind of like, they're a little bit big, and this top part gets kind of stringy, and me and Jason both agree that it needs to be smaller for the stir fry because it's just too big in one bite. So then what I do is cut off the top. So now we've got the leafy part, and then we've got this part which will stay together and look cute in our stir fry. So that's one, and then we're just gonna work our way through. And that means that these are really quick to cut up because it's just 2 cuts. Cut in half, cut off the top, and then you go. So we'll cut these and we will talk about the portable lunches. So I'm not exactly sure what you mean about portable because I think most things are portable if you have a lunch box that's big enough. My go-to lunch is leftovers from dinner because, as we were talking about earlier, I'm cooking for 2. I just cook enough for 4 to 6 people, and then Jason and I can have the leftovers for lunch the next day, and it's not like another thing we have to think about. But maybe that's not your thing, or maybe you want something different. So I think really the first thing is to get out of the idea of like lunch foods. I think it's easy to get in the rut of like, oh, I have to have a sandwich or I have to have a wrap or something like that. You can have whatever you want for lunch and don't let anyone tell you anything different. So, if you like sandwiches or wraps, that's not a problem. But if you're like, I don't really want that, then know that you don't have to do that. Okay. Because I did not make it to the farmer's market this weekend because I was out of town. So we're just gonna do them all. As far as other lunches, I think cold salads are really good. So like if you want to do like a quinoa salad with like roasted vegetables, or if you want to do some sort of like bean salad or pasta salad, something like that where you can make some at the beginning of the week and then have it in the fridge to pack in lunches. I think that can be good. And it's also nice, it's nice to have things like that, if you could heat it up, if you have access to a microwave, then it's great, but it's also fine cold, so that you don't, you're not stuck eating something, like maybe if you couldn't get to a microwave, it still is going to taste fine. What else for lunches? I do leftovers so much that it's hard for me to think of like something that I would make for lunch. Salads are good. You can put a salad in a jar. That's pretty easy to tote around. Okay, here's all of our bok choy. I'm gonna get you guys facing forward again. And put in the comments if you guys have any favorite lunches that you like to make, because it's all good to hear what you're doing as well. What other ideas? I'm drawing a blank right now. Soups are good if you like make a big pot of soup at the beginning of the week and you can like portion that off. I think that's a good option. Doing kind of like a snacky lunch. We talked about a snacky dinner, but just like little bits of like little bites of things. So maybe you have a few veggies with some sort of dip and some cheese and some fruit and some crackers and that kind of thing. Doing a little bit more like a hodgepodgey snacky type lunch. I think that can be really fun too. Let me scroll down for comments. Okay, I think we are caught up. So let's talk about the next step of this recipe. So for the stir fry tonight, you could do rice. That would be fine. I'm doing noodles tonight. So the noodles that we are using are these rice noodles. So we're doing rice, but in another shape. These are some rice noodles that I got, and what I'm gonna do is soak these in hot water for 10 minutes. So that's what I have found in my stir fry making. If you cook these, they can kind of get mushy if they're already cooked, and then you put them in the stir fry and you're cooking them some more, and then they start falling apart and it becomes like this gloppy mess. Not very cute. So what I find, if I soak these in really hot water, it softens them up enough, just kind of pre-cooks them a little bit. Then I put them in the stir fry, they cook a little bit more, and they tend to be the right consistency, and they don't start to become like a pile of mush. So I'm gonna get some hot water running in the sink. Move stuff out of my way because I need to do dishes, and they're filling up the sink. All right, so we're just gonna wait for that water to get hot, and then we'll cook. Alright, that's getting warm. Sorry I'm off screen right now, but I am still here, I promise. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll just pop in while that's filling up. And then once those get soaking, then we'll start the stir fry, and hopefully I timed it right so that those will be done when it's time to put them in. Fingers crossed. Okay. Let me twist those a little bit so they're all down in the water. Alright. I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. Timer. And we'll let those do their thing. So, now we're going to start cooking. Do you guys have any questions or comments or anything before we start doing the stir fry? I think it's pretty like, let's make the sauce, because if I try to make this, I usually make the sauce while I'm cooking because it's quick, but I don't think that's going to be possible while I'm also trying to talk to you and walk you through it, because it's going to take a little longer if I'm trying to teach you about it. So let's do the sauce. So what I like to do with the sauce is do it in a mason jar. Oh, Natalie says, I'm cooking with you tonight, but it's frozen pizza and salad for me tonight, lazy night for me. Sounds delicious, and I think that's really fun. I would love to know if more of you do that, because that's kind of my, not my intention with this, but an idea that I had that some people might do is that you might make your dinner while I'm making my dinner, we're hanging out. Now, obviously, not all of you are in the same time zone or making dinner right now or whatever, but I think that's really cool, and that makes me really happy. Kind of Vegan asked if I'm growing lettuces now. I am not. I grew some in the spring, but it's really too hot here to do lettuce right now, so even if I wanted to, it wouldn't really be possible. Okay, sauce. So I like to use a mason jar because you can shake it up in here, and also because it has the measurements on the side. So I don't have to dirty up another container. It's just like using a glass measuring cup, except I can put a lid on and then mix the sauce together. So for our stir fry sauce, we're gonna put in a few different things. This is just kind of like a basic stir fry sauce recipe. And then, you know, from here, you can jazz it up if you want to. So first thing we're putting in is soy sauce. This is tamari soy sauce. It doesn't matter what kind of soy sauce, whatever you like. You know, this is not, it's not that serious. So what I like to do is a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. And like I said, we've got the lines here on the side, so I can see really clearly when I have enough. Usually I would do this on the cutting board and not hold it in front of my face, but I want you all to actually be able to see it's happening. Okay. That's about right. And this, you know, I'm measuring it just to get it about right, but we're not baking, so like if you have a little more or a little less, it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of a rough estimation. Now we're gonna put in the same amount of rice vinegar. So this is rice vinegar here. So we've got a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 1/4 cup of the rice vinegar. And like I mentioned earlier, if you need more guidance with the stir fry, the Dr. Yum Meal Maker stir fry tool is really helpful, and it will walk you through this while you're making your stir fry. All right, rice vinegar is in. No one says bye. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed it. RD says, it's more like I eat dinner with you and marvel at all your delicious veggies. That's fun too. I like that. We're kind of having dinner together. Kind of Vegan says, I watch you while I procrastinate from my responsibilities. I understand that too. Quite a bit of my YouTube viewing is procrastinating other things I need to do. Okay, so we've got the rice vinegar and the soy sauce. I also like to add in fish sauce. This is optional, but I really like the flavor that fish sauce gives. You know, it's one of those things that doesn't smell too great in the bottle, but when you put it in the food and you cook with it, it really makes a big difference. So I do a couple tablespoons, 2 to 3 tablespoons. And again, I'm just using the lines on the side here to kind of guide me. That seems about right. And then I also like to add in a squeeze of honey just to add a little bit of sweetness to the sauce. Because right now we've got a lot of like salty and sour and savory flavors. So we're going to add in a squeeze of honey just to make it a little bit sweeter and kind of balance out those other flavors. So you could also add other spices in here. If I wasn't doing hot peppers, like right now we've got a ton of hot peppers because of the garden, but if I didn't have that, I'd put red pepper flakes in here. You could put in like Chinese 5 spice powder. You could put in some cornstarch if you want to thicken it up. You could put in pepper. You can do what you want. But this is kind of the basic one that I always make. And then we just shake. And this is a great job if you have little ones at home, because a very small child can shake a jar, and no matter the age, I mean, even grown-ups, I think everyone thinks it's fun to like shake up a jar of stuff and mix it all together. And I'm just checking the bottom because the honey kind of sticks to the bottom, so I really want to make sure that that is all like shaken up off the bottom there. And I'll give it another shake before we actually put it in, but now it's mixed up and ready to go. Okay, so soy sauce is ready, or stir fry sauce is ready to go. I think we're ready to start cooking. So I'm gonna rotate you over to look at the oven. Let's see, turn you down a little bit. There we go. So you can see that there, and then I can kind of stand here and we can talk. So I got some coconut oil in my wok. Honestly, it's not quite enough. So, okay, I told you guys how I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to get ready for the live stream. And then I opened up the pantry and I was like, oh, we basically have no coconut oil. I should have checked that before I went to the grocery store. But I was able to scrape it out with a spatula, and I put the jar in the microwave to try to get all the little bits to melt down. I've got some in the pan, and I've got a little bit reserved if we need more. Not as much as I would like, but I think we'll be okay. So I'm going to put this on like medium high to high heat, because when we're stir frying, we want our pan to be hot, because the whole idea here is that we are cooking stuff fast. So let's let that heat up. If you guys have other comments or questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm just going to try to tidy up a little bit while we wait for our pan to get hot. Yeah, and I'm caught up on comments. So if you have anything else, put it in there in the comment box. All right, get that out of my way. That's another good tip for when you're cooking. I think it's a good tip, is to try to clean as you go. If you just kind of let everything pile up, then it's just a great big mess, and it's even less fun to clean. But if you can kind of, when you have these little bits of time, put things away, it makes your chopping area and your prep area a lot more organized, and so it just makes it easier, but it also makes cleanup easier because you're kind of just doing it bit by bit. So we will put some things away. I have a cat that's at my feet, starved for attention. They have been in such a lovey mood. I mean, the cats, they love us. They're always happy to see us. But I think because we were on vacation recently and all of that, they're super snuggly. They're all in the bed at night, snuggled up as close as they can be. It's really cute, but sometimes I trip over them. All right, I'm gonna pop this stuff back in the fridge. Oh, this can go in the fridge too. All right, I think that is a little bit better. And our pan is starting to do its thing. Let's see. All right. Could y'all hear that moo meowing? Let me show you him. Come here, moo. The people want to see you. Come here. Come here. Oh. This is Mr. Moxie, also known as Moo Moo. He wants me to hang out with him right now, not you guys. He's still he's purring right now. But I think he's also a little nervous. He can see himself on the monitor. Yeah, you don't like that. Okay, you can get it. So he's hanging out with us as well. Now, side note. So I'm doing a veggie stir fry tonight, so there's no meat in here. That's also, man, this is like the struggle stir fry. I usually put shrimp in, but when I went to get the shrimp to thaw them out, there wasn't any in the freezer because I forgot to put it on my grocery list. So I'm not doing great tonight. But I hope this is an example that even when you don't have things going as you had planned it, you can still make it work, and it's not a big deal. So if I was doing shrimp, I would be putting those in the pan first, just so you know. So if you want to do shrimp or chicken or any other type of meat, I would cook those first in the pan, get it cooked through, take it out, set it to the side, wipe the pan out, put some more cooking fat in, and then cook the rest of the stuff, and then add the meat back in at the end. So if you want to add some sort of meat to your stir fry, that's how I would do it, and I will talk you through it. Excuse me, I'm burping. I'll talk you through it when I get to the point that I would end up adding the meat back, just as a reminder. So if you're making a stir fry, you kind of know how that works. All right, let's see how our oil is. It's getting pretty hot. Okay, so let me get myself a spatula. Well, I use this one. All right, so first thing we're gonna put in is the ginger, garlic, and onion. And you should get a nice sizzle. Kind of toss all that in there. Okay. Those guys are in the pan. Now I'm just going to be tossing this around. And stir fry, again, we've got high temperature. As you can probably tell by my face, I'm probably gonna get redder and redder as this goes on from standing next to the hot stove. Just a side note, and our noodles are done soaking. So since the pan is very hot, we don't want our ginger and garlic to burn. And we are stir frying, you get it? Stir frying, that's why it's called that, or at least that's why I would imagine it's called that. We need to be moving this stuff around in the pan, or we're gonna have some problems. The onion's doing its thing. Let me scroll back. Okay, Natalie says, my kitchen is a bomb went off when I'm done cooking. I definitely need to clean as I go. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier if you can make it happen. RD says, when did you decide what inspired you to be a dietitian? Good question. Well, first off, I will let you know, and anyone else watching, that I have a full video on this. If you want a little more organized and detailed explanation than my off the top of my head answer right now, I think it's called like why I decided to become a dietitian or something like that. It's not super recent, so you might have to, you can search it, or you could like scroll back in the channel. Probably searching it would be the easiest. But yeah, so I do have a video, but for me, it was kind of a combination, like being a dietitian. When I found out about it, that it was even a job that you could do, it seemed like the perfect combination of everything that I love. Okay, pause on the story. Now we're gonna add the hot peppers in. When these start cooking, it gets a little like I sprayed pepper spray in here, so if I start coughing, you'll know why. All right, peppers are going in. So yeah, being a dietitian seemed like the best combination of everything that I love. I've always been interested in health. I've always loved food. For a while as a kid, I thought I'd be a doctor. I thought maybe I'd be a pediatrician. I thought I might be a surgeon because I love like watching surgery videos and like the blood and guts kind of stuff. Then I thought that seems pretty serious. Maybe I could be like do autopsies because then they're already dead, so you don't have to worry about killing anyone. So I always knew I kind of liked that sort of thing, and I liked food, and I liked teaching. I thought maybe I would be a teacher, like a school teacher. Because I really like that as well. And then when I found out about a dietitian and what they do, it really was the perfect blend of all those things. It involved health, it involved food, and it involved teaching and educating people, which is something I like, and it's something that I also get feedback from a lot. I've always gotten feedback from people growing up that I was good at explaining things, good at teaching things, and helping people understand things. So it seemed like the perfect marriage of all of that. And so that was the kind of the main reason, and I thought it would be a cool way to be able to help people, which I think I'm doing. I hope you feel like I'm doing. Oh, there are the peppers. Okay. This is gonna be bad. Let me get some water. Oh, Moxie. Natalie says hello. I don't know where he went. And obviously he doesn't know what I'm saying, but I will tell him that you said hello. Kind of Vegan says, have you commented on the carnivore diet? I have not. Is that a video that you guys would like? Let me know. It's kind of the new hip thing right now. I feel like it's kind of coming off of keto. Like keto's been big. Now you're doing this carnivore thing. I will be 100% honest with you. Everything that I have seen about it has been very kind of soundbitey. Like, oh, I saw someone tweet it about it. Or, oh, I heard someone mention it on a podcast as a thing that people do. I've not looked into extensively, like, whose idea was this? How has it become popular? Why are people into it? What are the supposed benefits? I need to look into a lot more before I could ever do, like, a full video on it or like a commentary. But the idea, my understanding is you're basically just eating meat is the idea. We're not carnivores, we're omnivores, which is cool because it means we can eat a lot of different things. But one of the keys from everything we know about food and nutrition so far, it seems to be that one of the keys for good health and good nutrition is variety. Having a lot of different foods with a lot of different nutrients, a lot of different flavors, textures, all that kind of stuff. It's more enjoyable, and it's better for you. And so if you're eating a carnivore diet, you're not getting lots of yummy and potentially, health-promoting foods like fruits and vegetables and legumes and grains. You're missing out on all this stuff. And so from a health perspective, I can't really get down with that because you're missing out on all these wonderful foods that provide so much. But also from just like a eating perspective, like that sounds to me awful. I would never want to eat only one category of food. And any diet that requires you to eliminate one or, as with this diet, nearly all food groups, not a good idea. So that's kind of my general thought. But let me know if y'all would like something more specific. Okay. I am dying because of the hot peppers. I'm going to put the sweet peppers in now. Whew. I'll be honest, I've wanted to do a stir fry on a live stream for a long time now. But this is the reason why I have been hesitant, because of the hot pepper me coughing situation. Alright, sweet peppers are in. Hopefully that will help take some of the bite off. Oh, this looks pretty. Let me bring the pan over so you guys can see. Look at that. Look at how pretty that looks. Okay. Oh, and I'm going to drain the water off the noodles now so they don't get too... Oh. Whew. They don't... Man, those peppers are powerful, so they don't get too soggy. That's what I'm going to do. All right. I hope you guys know how much I love and care about you, because I'm willing to do a live stream where I'm basically macing myself in the kitchen and like sneezing and coughing all over the place. Okay. Now we're gonna add in the bok choy, and then I will catch up on your comments. Oh, Natalie says, love all the colors. Thank you. I think it looks so pretty. Okay. Bok choy's going in. And this is going to look like a lot, because it is kind of a lot, but it's also going to cook down a lot. So it should be good. And this pan is big, so it can hold a lot. Whew, I might have to run and get a tissue here in a second, because my nose is running from all of the hot peppers. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of stir. Sorry. I want y'all to be able to kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to stir this and try to get stuff mixed together a little bit. Okay. And we'll just let that cook a little bit and let the bok choy start to wilt, and then we'll flip it again. I'm going to run and get a tissue. I will be right back in about 15 seconds. Is this how you know we're really friends? Because I'm going to blow my blow my nose in front of you. Ugh. Wow. Whew. I've got an extra tissue here in case I need it. Huh. The peppers, they're not that bad when I eat them, but when you got them at that high heat and it's like all going up in the air, it's like, whew. Alright, let me wash my hands and see what you guys are saying. You guys are quiet now. You don't have any commentary about my my pepper attack? Okay. Let's stir this again. Oh, also, it's kind of late now to say this in the live stream because we're an hour in, but just so you guys know, we normally do these live cook with me's on the first Thursday of the month, but we didn't do that this month because I was out of town. And so that's why we're doing it this Thursday, if you were like, what happened? Yeah, also, I didn't post a video this Tuesday. I don't know how, like, on top of the schedule y'all are, or if you're, like, chomping at the bit for my videos. I've just been busy because we got back from vacation, and then it's just kind of that whole trying to get stuff together. I had a busy work week with other stuff jumping back in. It didn't happen. I apologize for that, but I also appreciate your guys' love and that you are so understanding with everything, and that you allow me to skip videos sometimes when that kind of thing happens. So thank you for that. All right, bok choy, get down in there. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have quartered the bottoms. I think that's what I normally do. And I didn't do that because I was so busy talking to you guys. I think I only quarter them. Because they seem really big right now. Well, we'll see. If push comes to shove, I can always cut them when it's time to eat. Okay. Those are cooking down pretty well. So next thing we'll add then is the noodles, but I will see. Oh, someone says, oh, Jenna99 says that this happened to them when they fried habaneros. Yeah, I can imagine. RD says, we only let my dad cook when he's home alone because he always does that with the peppers and my family can never breathe. Whew, it never stops. Kind of Vegan says, are you streaming from your phone or tablet? Phone, and then I have the tablet over here to talk to you guys. Kind of Vegan asks if I'm growing kale. I am not. I have seeds for it, but I'm not growing it. I might start some for the fall, though, if I can get my act together. Maritza says, bok choy is a great source of calcium. I try to have it weekly. Yes, leafy greens are a great way to get calcium in. RD says, also, any recommendations for cookbooks for beginners? I'm a college student interested in quick, budget-friendly, interesting recipes. I think the 100 Days of Real Food cookbooks are good. They're by a mom blogger who her family didn't do a lot of cooking and didn't really know what they were doing in the kitchen and like all that kind of stuff. So they did this challenge where they had to make everything basically from scratch, which is extreme and not something I would recommend. But out of it, they got this blog, she got a cookbook deal, all this kind of stuff. I think that's a good book because it's lots of basic recipes. So if you're new to cooking, it's good. I mean, for advanced cooks, I see a lot of reviews for that book. They're like, why is there a recipe for this? Everyone knows how to make that. I'm like, well, you know how to make that person writing the review, but a lot of people don't. So if you are a very beginner, I think that's a good one. I think she might have a second one as well. I also think, just as a reference for everyone, the Better Homes and Gardens cookbook is good. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily for beginners. I think it's just good for everyone because they have all the basic recipes in there. Like, anytime I'm making something new and I need a recipe, I'll look in here. I might not use the recipe in here, but I start here as my reference just to know, okay, this is what a recipe like this should be like, or this is kind of a basic version. So that's a good one to have on hand. I got my bookshelf right here. Oh, and also go on my store because there's a lot of cookbooks there, my Amazon store. Ellie Krieger is a dietitian, and she has several cookbooks. I think her food is super yummy. It's really good. So this is her first one, The Food You Crave. I also have her others. There's one called So Easy, Comfort Food Fix. She has a lot of great recipes, and I think they're good. If you're a beginner, you can do this. I cooked out of this cookbook especially a lot when I was first learning how to cook. So that is another good one. And I know I missed at least one more comment, but we got to get these noodles in, and then I will get back to you. Okay. So this is what the noodles look like now that they're soaked. So you can see they're soft, but they're not cooked all the way. So we're going to toss these in on top. Okay. And we are also going to ditch the spatula now, get all the stuff off here, and switch over to tongs so that we can, twist and turn everything. Okay. Next, we're going to put in our sauce. So let me give this another little shake. Remember, this was soy sauce, rice vinegar, fish sauce, and honey. So I'm going to pour that in over the top. That smells good. And now we are going to just kind of mix everything together, try to get these noodles incorporated in with the vegetables. And also, that sauce is going to start to thicken up with the heat and soak into everything. I find this part to be a little tricky. It always seems like the noodles want to hang out together. And I'm like, come on guys, we got to incorporate with the other ingredients. Okay. So we're just kind of getting that mixed together. Now this still has to cook a little bit longer, but I'll bring it over. You can kind of see we're starting to get closer to what we want. But that's heavy, so I'll put it back on the pan. Just gonna kind of mix some stuff some more. Okay, let me look at that other comment, because I can answer that while we're doing this. Oh, Natalie, this is what it was. Natalie says, what/who do you like to watch on YouTube? I have a few favorites. I also tend, and I'll tell you about them, but I will say I also tend to get in ruts, like where I'm watching, I have kind of my go-tos all the time, but I'll also get in like, I'm watching all of this person right now, or I'm watching all of that person. Every video they put up, I'm like right there, and then I kind of, which I think everyone's like that. Like, for some of you, I'm sure my channel is I gotta see what Sarah's gonna do. And for other people, they've been here, I can see through the comments. Sometimes there are people who are here for a year, and then suddenly I don't hear from them again. I don't know if they stopped commenting, if they got busy, they got a new job, they're interested in different stuff, but I'm kind of like that too. I'll be into some people all the time forever, other people I kind of, rotate through. So, as far as who I like, right now, basically all I watch is BTS videos. Not as in behind the scenes, but as in Bangtan Sonyeondan, the K-pop group. I don't know how many of you guys are into K-pop, Korean pop music. I have dabbled for, I don't know, like a year or two. Just like, oh, this is a fun song. Me and Jason will listen to, you know, music a lot of times. We're doing stuff around the house. I love music. It's one of my favorite things. I guess I get this tissue out of my shirt right now. Also, this little lady's at my feet, so I think she wants to say hello. This is Luna. But I've been into K-pop, but I recently have become like a super fan for this group called BTS. They are one of the most popular groups, definitely the most popular internationally. They're huge. You very well may have heard of them because they're kind of a big deal. So I'm certainly not like the first person to become enthralled with them. But basically all of my YouTube viewing right now is watching their music videos over and over, watching behind the scenes videos that they post, watching compilation videos that other people make of their favorite moments, watching compilation videos that are like one of the members, like funny things that so-and-so did, 7-minute compilation video, just all the best clips together. That's basically all I've been doing. They also did a YouTube Red series called Burn the Stage about them. I've watched it once before. This week I started watching it through for the second time. I was literally crying during one of the episodes this week when I was watching it. So I've entered like fangirl status, and I've never been this into like anything, any music group. I mean, I have always liked music. I have bands that are my favorite or whatever, but I've never been like in a fandom before where I'm like, I have my alerts turned on for their Twitter and their YouTube channel, I have notifications on. I'm always in the subreddit like reading to see anything that anyone might be talking about. I'm watching their videos over and over again. Like, it's serious. So a lot of BTS right now. I see comments coming in too. Oh, Emily says water. Thank you. Oh, Natalie says, I love it. I haven't listened to them yet, but I've been thinking about going down the BTS wormhole. I would highly recommend it. I think it's fun. And it's kind of, you know, you kind of start off with their music and then you get into other things. That's kind of how it's been for me. Like, I really like their songs, and then I started to learn more about, first thing was just trying to learn, you know, like with any group, you're trying to learn all their names, you're trying to figure out who's who, what are their personalities, you know, more about the members as individuals, and then, you know, you just start to get into everything. Okay. So, we've got, okay, sorry, stir fry is hard, because I want to talk to you guys, but I don't want to ruin the stir fry. Other things I watch. Philip DeFranco, like him a lot. I love John and Hank Green. I think they're great. Who else do I really like? I'm trying to think of like who I like Screen Junkies. I think I like to see their, you know, them talking about different movies and stuff. I think that's really interesting. Cinema Sins. I really like, who else? I love Hannah Hart. I think she is so cute and adorable and sweet and funny. Who else do I watch a lot of? Kitties, do you have any ideas? I can't think of anyone because all I've been watching is BTS. Seriously, it's a serious problem. All right, we're going to do one more thing. Oh, my noodles are burning because I'm talking to you guys when I should be doing the noodles. We are going to finish this up. So, last step is we are going to put in some basil. I was going to throw some eggs in, but I'm going to be honest, we have missed our window for that because I was too busy talking about my music stuff and whatever. So I'm going to take this off the heat now. I'm going to turn the heat off. We're going to cut up some basil. So I have lots of basil here from the garden. And we are going to cut it into little ribbons. So what I'm doing right now is just stacking the basil, trying to put like the larger leaves at the bottom of the stack, making a little stack for myself. So I will do this. We can talk about more YouTube stuff. I'd love to know who you guys watch. Like, let me know in the comments because, I don't know, I'd really be interested whether they're food and nutrition related or not, you know, whatever you're into. Let me think if there's any other YouTubers I'm missing. Those are the ones that come top of mind for me. Nikki Philippi, I like her. I think she's sweet. And I've met her a couple times. She's really nice. Oh, I love MKBHD. He does tech videos. Love him. I think he's great. I think his videos are great. He's just awesome. Yeah, that's all I can think of right now. Let's see. Oh, Natalie says Emmy Made in Japan has fun and weird food videos. I have notifications set on for her. Kind of Vegan says, how much dinner will you eat? Approximately how many calories, how full? I don't know how many calories. I just kind of eat until my body says we're done. I'll probably eat I would say probably a fifth of this. Maybe closer to a fourth since we don't have the shrimp in here, since I forgot about them. And honestly, I will probably also end up frying up a couple eggs just to put on top. So maybe a fifth of that. It's kind of a big pot of food, maybe a sixth if I add an egg on top or something. Okay, we're gonna cut up basil real quick. So I'll put y'all back down on the cutting board. So here we go. We have the basil stacked now. This is kind of a big stack, but what you're gonna do, this is how you chiffonade your basil, which is a really fancy way for saying cut into little ribbon bits. So we're gonna roll it up into a little stack. Okay, now I'm left-handed, so if you're right-handed, you would have it flipped the other way, obviously. But then you run your knife across, like so, and make thin slices. And this is gonna give you nice little basil ribbons. Look at that. Look how fancy that looks. And it's not hard. Look. That looks like you went to culinary school or something, and you can do it. I promise. So that's a good thing to know how to do. Okay. Now you know how to chiffonade. We're gonna put all that basil in, and that's a lot of basil, but that's because I like a lot of basil because it tastes good. And it's in the garden, so we're gonna use it. Oh, Natalie says, interesting with the basil, I only think of it for Italian dishes. As for YouTube, I was very into the Shane Dawson series. Yeah, I really liked I watched his whole TanaCon thing. I thought that was a gem, and then I told Jason about it, and I watched it a second time with him as he watched it. Jenna99 says that they like binging with Babish, Man at Arms. They do, they're blacksmiths. They make famous weapons. That sounds really interesting. Shame says, Natalie, I was crying earlier today because of that series. Oh, Natalie says, me too. Oh, so what's Shane Dawson series is this? I saw he was doing a Jeffree Star series. Is that the one you're talking about? And Kind of Vegan says, have you made a one-pot pasta yet? I think we done pasta on the live stream. When was that? I want to say it was only maybe a couple months ago. I don't know. These live streams, they start to run together for me because honestly, every time the next month comes up, I'm like, see, it's time for that again. The time just flies by. But I want to say within maybe the past 3 or 4 months, so the 3 or 4 live streams, I did a pasta. All right, so now I'm just kind of tossing all this together, getting the basil in there. So this is an Italian basil, but if you have Thai basil, that would be really good, or any kind of basil you like. But I did the Italian basil for this one because that's good. We're tossing that all together. And I think that's dinner. All right, let me get a bowl and I'll show you the finished product. And already asked about podcasts. What podcast do I like? Okay, here again, I usually listen to a lot of podcasts, but because all I want to do is listen to BTS now, I'm so behind on all my podcasts. You guys have no idea how serious this has gotten. It's like on my free time, I'm like, I could do anything, but let's just do more BTS things. But I like Hank Green and his wife Catherine have a podcast called Delete This, and it's where they go through his last week in tweets. And it's kind of fun because you get to see things that were happening as far as national or international news that he tweets about, but also things in their personal life or just funny things that happen, YouTube things that happen, whatever. It's kind of a cool way to do a week in review. And they discuss the things. It's really funny, and they're precious and adorable. So I love that. I also like the podcast that Hank and John Green do together. That is called, what is that called? Why can I'm totally blanking on what it's called. Dear Hank and John. How easy is that? Why did I forget that? So I like that. There's a podcast called Bad Christian that I really like. They're three guys, and they talk about different like topics related, a lot of times related to Christianity, but sometimes pop culture things. I think they're funny, and I like their banter, and they bring on a lot of different types of guests. Like, you know, a lot of podcasts, the host might have an opinion about something, and then they only bring on people that kind of agree with that, but they're really willing to bring on people that are way different from them, and still might not necessarily agree with them, but just to kind of hear what that person's thinking and what they're saying, and to not close themselves off from it. And I really like that, because I like being exposed to lots of different people, lots of different ways of thinking, even if I think they're totally wrong, or maybe even like a problem because they're like saying things that are harmful. I still want to I want to know what that person's saying if they're out there saying it, you know? So I really like them. What else? I've started listening to some BTS podcasts. There's only a couple. One's called First Time with BTS. One's called Standing BTS. There's a little bit smaller podcast, but they're BTS related, and I'm all BTS all the time over here now. What other podcasts? I know there are others. But yeah, honestly, all I've been doing is BTS things. So now we have dinner, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. So you can kind of see we got the noodles in there. We got our basil. The sauce is kind of coating. You can see the peppers running through there. So this is a yummy dinner, and like I said, I think I probably will like fry up one of these eggs or something just to put on top. Oh, something else I'm gonna put on here, just so you know, is some kimchi. Kimchi is a fermented food similar to like sauerkraut. It's made from cabbage. And I'm going to chop up some of this and put it on there too. It tastes good. It gives like a little tangy flavor. And also, you know, you get the probiotics, which is also nice for your gut health. Okay, so Shane says yes about the Shane Dawson thing. Natalie says, you've got me laughing over here with the BTS obsession. I definitely need to check them out now. Do it, because then I'll have more people to talk about BTS with. That's like my thing now, is trying to get more people into it. So, because Jason's into it. Not as into it as I am, but he's into it, and we talk about it all the time. But I need more people. I was trying to indoctrinate my nieces when we were on vacation at the beach, which they enjoyed the music, so that was successful. Yeah, it's gotten a little out of control over here. Maritza says, I'm trying to digest food better, wondering if you have any already recommendations on probiotics, raw sauerkraut, or kombucha. Do they really help? There isn't a lot of good research on probiotic foods, but we do have a good idea that they probably make a difference. So incorporating them in your diet, I think, is a great idea. It's not something you go like nutso with, but you know, if you like yogurt, eat some yogurt. Have things like kimchi, sauerkraut where it makes sense, kombucha if you like it, that kind of thing. You can also get probiotic supplements. I don't have a specific one that I recommend or anything like that, but lots of different cultures have some sort of probiotic food. And so that means that there's a lot of different options to choose from, which is nice. Let me see. Oh, Kind of Vegan says, I love the Food Matters podcast. I feel like I've heard about that before. As far as dietitian podcasts, there's one called Don't Salt My Game. There's one called Food Psych, which is good. Body Kindness, that's a good one. Those are a couple off the top of my head if you're looking for a dietitian podcast. Do you guys listen to a lot of podcasts? Let me know that too, because I really like podcasts. I'm into them, so I'd be interested to know if you guys are into podcasts. But this is dinner, so I hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing how all of this comes together. And I'm really excited to have dinner. I think this looks delicious, and stir fry is one of my favorites to make. Kind of Vegan says, would love to see you do a small batch pickle live stream. Oh, something different than dinner. That could be fun, doing like homemade pickles. Maybe we could do that. I'll have to think about it. No promises, but I will keep it up here as an option. Natalie says, enjoy. Jenin says, after you recommended it, I tried it, and I tried some kombucha, and I love it. Awesome. I think kombucha is really fun because you get all the different flavors. I don't know. I like trying the different flavors. I think that's a fun part of it. So with all that said, I guess I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here, eat my food. I also have a class at the gym that I want to go to, so I need to get ready to go for that. But it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. I always love chatting with you and doing the live streams and cooking with you, or maybe if you're eating or hanging out or whatever. I think they're a lot of fun, and I always love seeing you come back again and again. just because it's a great time for us to really chat in real time, which I really love, and I hope you like it as well. So with that said, I'm going to get going, but it's been nice talking to all of you, and I will see you again soon in my next video. Bye!